What is happening, guys? Goldie Black Ops Kid here, coming at you with a Borderlands 3 reveal. Everything we know, 27 brand new facts. We're not going to be talking about little things like, oh, new graphics. This is the big topics, new mantling mechanics, everything like that. They're playing as Amara first thing. This is from their pre-release show. Claptrap is a new voice actor.
I am a CL4PTP steward bot, but you can just call me General Claptrap of the Crimson Raiders!
So there is new voice actors, Claptrap, and then Rise was a big thing on this topic of discussion. Sliding and mantling mechanics is something new that the game has to offer.
So
Fantastic.
we're throwing stealth out the window?
Fantastic, super cool new things. They also pick up the new Theodore pistol, or just new pistols in general. Pretty much all new weapons have alternative firing modes like this one. Shooting, also notice that recoiling is a lot different than Borderlands 2. One shoots pistols, one shoots mini missiles. And they also take those ammo from the various types. So the missiles takes from the missile category, the pistol takes from the light ammo category. So a lot of new things are interesting too. They've seemed to put a little bit more fluid mechanics in it. This is like the first Borderlands technically running on next generation consoles. So like not like the Handsome Jack collection kind of thing. So they show a lot of things, sliding, mantling, and destroyable cover here, which I actually did not display there on title screens, but that is something brand new coming to Borderlands, destroyable cover. And I'm sure they'll do it to more volumetric effect. They also have new melees, but that's nothing new. But Amaris is really cool. It's going to be exciting to see how well all the new characters play well. I feel like Amara is going to be a lot of people's choices. You do see Amara and Zane, so other people we won't see quite yet. But there's the new boss, Shiv. They'll all have their own mini bosses, sub bosses, stuff like that. So I'm excited to see how those work out. We have seen a lot of close quarters, not a lot of open worlds, but when you open these chests, they auto money and ammo from most crates, especially if you need it. If you can't fill it, they won't give it to you. So cutscenes also play out like they did in Borderlands 2 and 1, which is on-screen projections. Opens it up, money just flies into their inventory. They still do in certain crates like this one right here, like the ammo doesn't fly to them, but they might just be, yep, well, actually it does. Sorry, that's my bad. You see a little bit of the different weapons they can get. You're obviously going to be holding 2, and you can upgrade those further, but we'll talk about that later into the videos. See some pretty cool gameplay. And you can see damage indicators are pretty low. Obviously, they're level 1. This is like the literal, probably the first quest. And movable and interactable environments is something that's brand new. I guess you could subcategory that in with the destroyable cover. But I think this is a cool addition because Borderlands never really done, movable. I think everything has been pretty plain and generic. So to see them kind of do that, interactable environments you'll see here in a second. He goes to slide, he blows that, oil spills onto the ground, and then he shoots it to make it fire, which I think is cool. You can see that to take advantage of boss battles and just, trying to kill more enemies with just one bullet. They actually go into their first boss battle, which is Shiv, which has got a small little arm. Kind of cool. I'm glad they're still taking the comedic value with their games. He's a level 2, there's level 1. The ground pound is coming back from Borderlands the pre-sequel, which you'll just hold the B button while you're in air. It's going to work about probably the same way as Borderlands the pre-sequel. And then he does a pretty cool finish. NPCs can revive you, and you can revive NPCs. Whether they're not... I mean, I know Lilith, here in a little bit, will actually attack enemies. So they will actually be able to attack enemies, and then if they go down due to hit points restrictions, you can actually revive them. So more challenges, that's kind of cool. I like that. So it's 5 out of 10 recover health. So they're going to have those type of challenges, whether they unlock keys and stuff like that, because they've already said that. So that's cool. Extra action points per character. So there's 3 extra skills per character, which is actually pretty cool. Amara has Face Slam, which is like the one where it slams them in the ground. Does pretty decent damage. 84, which is pretty much however much health Amara has right now. Phase Grasp is giant fist that burst from the ground and attack enemies for a few seconds. And then they also have one here in a second. It will be the last one, Phase Cast, which is just putting a projection of herself and destroying enemies. That does 79 damage and 22-second cooldown. The Phase Storm probably would be more of an AoE, so most people will probably use that. So that's your 3 skills. We have Zane's 3 skills coming up, so we'll kind of dig deep into that a little bit later. But obviously the same kind of challenge system. There's mainly just positive effects, and there'll probably be some negative effects with certain, like, well, actually, no. There'll actually be no, like, passive abilities because of that. He's using their special ability right there. Because that they don't have really, like, you know, like, we actually have 3 different skills instead of just 1 skill and then 3 or 2 other passive ones that you can do. So I'm excited for DLC characters. I've already announced that they're going to be doing DLCs, which is fantastic. And Second Wind's still in here, so don't worry about only having a co-op experience. There's still going to be single-player oriented and single female cycles. I don't know if it's been a while since I've played Borderlands, but I don't remember them ever being female cycles in the game. They happen real quick, and they don't really talk about it too much, so it could be a new thing, but as far as I know, I've never really seen female psychos in the game. They're pretty much everywhere, so that's really cool, whether or not it's just to that or not. Radiation damage is a new elemental as well. They've boasted if they take too much elemental damage or radiation, that they'll actually blow up and they'll explode and then radiate the other enemies next to them. So radiation will probably be a pretty cool elemental as well. The mini one's cool. Loot scales with player to player. That's actually an optional mode you can turn on. Well, actually, no, that's not optional. Well, yeah, it is optional for them to actually have that scaling, which we've seen that in the past with other games, not with loot, but just, you know, enemy types. They also show in this demo as well with Zane attacking that Amara's damage will do 7 per hit, and that Zane's will do the same amount but be the same hit point, so they can actually tell how much damage they're doing. In reality, Zane's doing more damage because his enemies are more higher level. They've just done a lot of balancing things, which is fantastic, and loot actually helps other players out too. So it's kind of exciting to see that. Zane can use 2 action skills at once, which he has Digiclone, which he can just, you know, put a projection of himself. Also, he can swap back to that clone as well, which is pretty cool. I'm excited to see how well Zane plays out. He'll probably be more of an OP character. Sentinel, which is just a little turret bot that can be sent out to attack his enemies, does 36 damage, lasts 24 seconds, and a cooldown of 36 seconds. LB and RB, whether or not you assign those to LB or RB, is pretty cool. Barrier is just a little bit of a shield that actually shoots, when you shoot through the barrier, it changes elemental damage and other things like that. That lasts 9 seconds, cooldown of 18 seconds, and does a plus 20% amplitude damage, which is cool. They were saying that. I can't put any audio or else I'll get copyright striked big time. So it'll be cool how well he's more of a support character. Obviously, different melee attacks. He'll have a blade, and obviously with other characters, we'll do different things. Like I'm sure the soldier will just beat them with their shield, stuff like that. So they did really cool with adding new environments to Borderlands 3, and you can kind of see how well that plays out. Right here, you can actually see the different damage types, stuff like that. So, yes, because right here he's doing 6, you're doing, 6. It makes the game really cool. 11, but he's changed it to the chain gun. He's also calling out targets to his Sentinel bot too, so just that's also more things that you can see with Zane, which is cool. I wish they would have showed other characters because they only showed a couple. The chain gun I feel like is cool. I love the alternative fire modes. That's awesome. I'm excited to see all the different ones. And Theodore, new throwables. They added just not just throwing and exploding. Now they have, bouncing balls, so it does damage as it bounces and then it explodes. They also have walking guns, which we saw in the trailer, which you'll see here in a little bit. They have one that shoot missiles out when you throw them, so some pretty cool damn stuff. So right here you have the walking guns, which is pretty cool. I don't know if there's a cooldown timer on any of these or if there's anything. You can see multiple of them on the battlefield all at once. That's pretty cool to see, especially with all the mayhem. Here you'll see the rockets and the balls. So Theodore guns probably will be one of the tremendous overtaking, especially when it comes down to massive firepower without having to use the massive amount of ammo types. Which is pretty cool. I think that's a tremendous cool new feature that they added some more cool things. Going to an ammo station holding Y will actually replenish all ammo at that given time. So it's obviously not free. It's something that you actually have to use your money for, but it restocks all your ammo that you need up to max settings. So pretty cool. You'll see some new bosses. They actually added more areas, new planets, all that kind of stuff, which you'll see later on in the video. But more tremendous, great things coming out. Mouthpiece is one of the cooler bosses that comes out here. And a lot of these mini bosses seem pretty easy because they kind of just cream this boss. It might not be this way in the full design product. It's a pre-release, so there could be more enemies in this area. It could be more stages. I don't know. He doesn't seem to really attack very much. It's mainly just AoE, like the speakers and stuff. Zane also can teleport to his decoy, which his decoy actually shoots things as well. So, kind of cool to see that. He teleporting just to dodge attacks and stuff like that. His sentient turret will lock onto his targets if you press LB or whatever the button is assigned to the turret. And they just melt him. Like, there's obviously times that he could have just shot him and melted him. But they're just trying to test out the mechanics, see how long the bosses could last, and things like that. Obviously, the new melee system, every character will have its own special melee, which is pretty cool. And then, you can see that his turn actually got attacked there. Game joined, I don't know what that is all about up here at the top left-hand corner. Maybe someone joined or something weird happened, I don't know. New interesting boss weapons. Obviously, bosses have had their own weapons in Borderlands before, but obviously now they're kind of taking more of an interest, and with share looting and stuff like that, everyone's going to be able to get a cool, unique boss weapon, or at least in this showcase, they both had it. New boss has new siphoning powers, so this baddie gets sucked away. And that's Teresa, I do believe. And then Troy in the background with his massive arm, which is probably what he uses as a weapon. And Tyrene is what it is. I don't know how to spell it, so I put it in a question mark. That's their official names. I just don't know how to spell because I'm horrible at spelling. They seem to be pretty, comedic and, high strong. They're going to get all the vaults from you because her goal is to kill the enemies and to gain their power to make her stronger. The new hub area, which is Sanctuary 3, the new space station that you'll be staying in between worlds, stuff like that. Once you get far enough, of course, not something you're to be immediately taking off into. But Sanctuary 3 is pretty cool. It's like the hub area that you'll get to with your friends, and and they have a lot of cool things here, which we'll be diving into all that stuff here. Over there, you'll see all the new cosmetics, which you can buy through cosmetics or microtransactions, but they don't want to say that. Any loot that falls out of the map or in inaccessible areas, I don't know how that's exactly going to work, but you can actually get loot from that and sell it, obviously. I'm ready to see some exploits on that on YouTube, so we'll dive into that a little later. Customizable quarters, you can throw guns that you want to see in there. And display cases, and that's obviously player specific. I don't know if it's actually just the main character that gets the whole room, or if the other character has their own things, if they have their own rooms. They didn't really specify. That's what I would assume. But Marcus is where you can actually upgrade ammo and your carrying capacity. It's only done here on the ship. You can't actually buy it from the machines anymore. And you can see that Marcus looks a little nicer in this game. Obviously, the graphics are a little bit nicer, and everything seems a lot more fluid and smooth. So I'm excited to see that. Moxie is back yet again with the same loadout from Borderlands 2. She looks a little bit skinnier, which is kind of weird. Or it's just how the game shows, but she looks a little skinnier. Tip jar is still in here, and the vending machines, just like from Borderlands 2, are back. which I like these. I always tried to, hit the vending machine as often as I could to see what I could get, like legendary gun or, jackpot or something. Of course, get a grenade, but that's the way she goes. Anyways, this is the new bridge, which is where you'll be using to travel worlds. You can see the new planets that they have indicated on there. Once you travel to an area, you go to the docking station, which then you'll land onto the area, which they didn't actually showcase. I'm sure there'll be some pretty cool things going on, like you don't just have a loading screen. Maybe you'll go actually to the planet, but we'll see how that works when the full game is announced. They don't actually show it. So they can actually show Pandora back there, and exploring new worlds is all in game. No loading screens, which I'm quite curious on how that is actually going to work, especially if Boundary Break does a video on it. I'm excited to see how they actually pulled this off, because it looks pretty cool how they managed to pull it off. Obviously, they probably did some cool imagery or cool things there, but obviously pay attention to all the NPCs in this area. They're a little bit more fluid and moving than any other Borderlands game before. Some Dreads and Lilith in the action. Obviously, more recurring characters. You'll see more characters in here, obviously. You'll pick them up, put them on the ship, or possibly just not pick them up, because you'll see Zero later on in the trailer. Hammerlock has quests that you can actually kill enemies, probably legendary or big boys, just like you could in Borderlands 2. But they'll display them in this room, which is pretty cool. You can see all the little trophy mounts that they have there, that you can display all of the cool things.
What you want?
More reoccurring characters as well. This is the new area, new planet that you can do. It's actually Miliwan actually trying to take over the Atlas Corporation, or Hyperion, for obviously to do that. So he shoots a Seeker Dart. Those actually will follow right to the targets. You'll see a lot of criticals later on in the video. That's just an Atlas gun. Whether or not they all do that, they said it's very specific on what kind of guns can do it. But of course, pretty much all guns have their alternative firing modes. So seeing everything in action, he did a ground pound there. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, the Seeker grenades here, they throw a lot of things quick at it, so you just kind of have to take it for what it is. I do like the smart bullets, where you can actually AoE attack, and then everyone in that was lit by that AoE attack is all smart targeted. So that was really cool. The barrier here with Zane having elemental damage and extra damage coming out of it, which is pretty cool. And then I like Zane. I like how everyone has their own ups and downs. Like Amara's probably just like a powerhouse, and Zane's more of a support, stays back. And then you have, of course, WTF Zero, which was from Borderlands 2, one of the playable characters. Probably we'll see more of the playable characters from Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 1 possibly coming back into the mix. And really, that is all the new things in Borderlands 3. Really. New areas, which is fantastic. I'm excited to see those. They've slightly went on cosmetics. They'll be just cosmetic, no extra things, no advantages to having them. Just mainly a look, really. But that's how a lot of games are going. Everyone's paying for cosmetics now, which is just how it goes. Not something you have to get, totally optional. They've already talked about a lot of DLCs that are going to be coming out, so they're working on DLCs and stuff. After they're done fine-tuning the game, it could come out pretty quick, like they did with Borderlands 2 or Borderlands the pre-sequel. They came out pretty quick. But really, the game seems to be stellar. There's a lot of cool things going on here, and the game seems fantastic. I'm loving everything I see with Borderlands 3, and I'm sure everyone else is here too. Thank you guys so much for watching everything that we know about Borderlands 3 now. All the new things, I think 27, 28 new things in Borderlands 3 that weren't in there before, or a huge upgraded version. Obviously, we could have gone to 50 different things, new graphics, all that stuff. We were talking about major points in Borderlands 3. If there was anything that I'm missing or anything that you guys think I should cover, make sure you guys drop it down in the comment section below. Also, if you guys could please like the video. It took me a long time to make this video. It would show me great support and continuing doing great content just like this every single week as we do normally. Subscribe for more great Borderlands 3 content just like this coming out in the future, and it would really help me out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.